It's time for your bearded host, Zach Walker.
Good morning, North Alabama. This is Zach Walker, your beautiful bearded host of Hometown Heartbeat, and it is a Monday morning edition here on WVNN. We are coming back strong from a weekend, first weekend after the first week of the show, getting used to this whole waking back up thing. On Saturday, I woke up real early on my own. Actually, no alarm. It just, there I went, awake, just like that. And then on Sunday, I slept in a little bit more, but I like 6 o'clock a.m. So
is that a good thing? You're kind of,
I don't know.
Your body's getting trained, I guess.
I guess, but like that means I'm going to bed at like 7:30. Like I'm AARP schedule right now. Like I am on that retirement life, son.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good to get your
walkers and wheelchairs. See what I did there?
No.
Okay. My last name's Walker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it now.
It's too early.
Yeah.
Let's check in with old producer Connor. Producer Connor, how are you this morning, buddy?
Doing good.
How was your weekend, man?
Pretty early this morning.
Do what?
4 a.m. came pretty early this morning.
It came real early. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was good. Mostly spent it with friends, doing just having some fun.
Doing friends things, I got you.
Say what now?
I said just doing friend things. I got you. We are settling in here for our second week on the air, and before we jump into that, Dallas, what did you do this weekend, my friend?
I did friend things as well. I was also working here for some of it, so yeah, it was a good weekend. Solid, nothing too out of the ordinary, I guess.
How was your drive in this morning?
It's great.
Was it?
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, did you have a incident?
I may or may not have been speeding on 72 and on the way in this morning, and yeah, so I got pulled over.
Yeah?
I did.
Pretty significant speed there, boss?
I may or may not have been speeding.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a pretty significant speed, but thankfully the cop was pretty nice about it. He wrote me my ticket. I definitely deserved it.
Sounds like you did there, yeah.
Yeah, so I got that to look forward to. Got to get that taken care of. But other than that, it was a pretty good drive in.
Good deal. Yeah, he came in and said, well, I got a speeding ticket. I'm like, well, you should slow down.
I kind of had to explain why I was, a little bit behind this morning. Just had to let you know.
I was a little concerned. We were running on 11 minutes till showtime. So, we were getting real close. Fortunately, I'll just walk over there and jump on the board and off we'll go. Pretty quiet in the world this weekend? Or pretty hectic out there?
All right, you're asking?
Yeah, I'm asking.
I
try to stay out of the news whenever possible.
Sure, that's fair. There's not a ton going on. You still got Joe Biden in hiding. In the sports world, there's a little bit of news.
Like what?
Cam Newton getting signed to the Patriots. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, hold on, I'm pulling it up here. It says that the former NFL MVP has signed a one-year deal worth up to $7.5 million with the New England Patriots. This deal is $2 million short of his last at Auburn. You talking about Scam Newton?
Yep.
That's just somebody that I've never really had any respect for.
That's fair, and I kind of understand
the way he plays the game and like lays down on the field and wants to act like a little prima donna. And he had one good season, and he dresses like Steven Tyler's mic stand.
Yeah, I think he could use. He'll tell you his fashion sense is there. I don't.
Do you know Steven Tyler's? Aerosmith, right?
Okay. I didn't know
his
that was
mic stand. Wow, golly.
Does he have like a special type of mic stand? It's totally different, or do I need to look it up now?
Yeah, well, he always has crazy stuff like hanging on his mic stand. He like dresses up his mic stand. Let's see here. See that right there?
Oh, okay.
That's how Cam
Okay.
Newton dresses.
That's fair.
Everybody out there right now is laughing real hard. One, laughing at you because you didn't know Steven Tyler's mic stand. But then I have to remind people, you're 18?
That's right.
Yeah. So, Connor, did you have any idea when I said Steven Tyler's mic stand what I meant?
I knew who Steven Tyler was, but I didn't know anything about his mic stand.
Well, that's 50% better than Dallas. So we are going to spend a lot of time on the phones this morning. 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN, or 678 on radio. If you're interested in joining us live on the stream, you can do so at YouTube and Facebook by going to Hometown Heartbeat. Dallas is waving at the cameras. We've got everything set up. We've got a good show for you today. We've got lots of good stuff out there. Got some Kardashian news. We got some Black Lives Matter news. We've got the leader of the Black Lives Matter movement being charged with treason, even verbally. We've got Donald Trump treating out white power. So it's going to be a good show this morning. I just want to get through the weekend. I feel like I'm still kind of holding on to a little bit of that weekend leftover what reserve, but English is hard. I don't know, man. Can we go back? Take me back.
So what song is that?
It's my song. It's
freestyle.
Zach,
It was a
Zach
freestyle.
made it up song is what it is. No, check us out this morning on Facebook, on YouTube. Hometown Heartbeat, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Push to reform policing ramps up in D.C. Oh, we had the statehood vote. Yeah, we had the statehood vote. And the Tennessee Valley is going to be putting in its bid for statehood as well, just to make sure we get those extra votes in,
Yeah,
You're lost right now.
I'm a little bit lost.
Completely lost. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You're just young. You're young and you are impressionable. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but how's Mojo? How's your dad doing?
He's good. He's in Michigan right now,
What's he doing in Michigan?
visiting his girlfriend.
Oh, what's up, Michigan?
Yeah,
Probably not listening today.
probably not. It's
No.
pretty early for him, but
Yeah,
I mean, I guess he's used to getting up this time. Maybe he is tuned in.
doubt it.
I doubt it too, but a man can hope.
Is that what you hope? Do you want to tell him how fast you were driving in case he is listening?
I do have to tell him about that. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna wait until I don't think now would be a good time to call. It's a little early.
Yeah. Would you want to share it with the people listening? How fast you were going? You don't have to. It's your choice.
I was going 92 miles per hour.
Whoa! Slow down! Whoa. I don't even think my truck will do 92 miles an hour.
I wasn't really paying attention.
Or you were running behind and you put
That
the
too.
hammer down.
That too.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was running that far behind to where.
No, but you were after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, but don't worry. I didn't speed after the fact.
I would hope not.
I was going like 3, 4, 5 under the whole time.
I've been pulled over 5 times in the last 6 months. I've gotten no tickets.
How?
Usually, I make the cop laugh or... for instance, here's how one went down. Sir, did you know that you were, and I said, speeding? Yes, sir. I was freaking flying because I'm in a hurry. So I'd really love a ticket or a warning, but either way, I'm still in a hurry. That's kind of what the cop did, and he said, sir, do you have a driver's license? I said, I do. Handed it to him. He said, do you have insurance? I said, yep. He said, do you have any warrants? I said, no, sir. He handed me my license back, said, slow down, Mr. Walker. Have a good day. That's just one of them.
Okay. Well, I'll take that into consideration next time. I don't know if it'll work as well for me, especially if I'm going 92.
No, once you get to that point, you're probably SOL.
Yeah, but at least he was nice. What is SOL?
Are you serious? Good Lord. Connor, do you know what SOL is? Obviously, we're not going to say it, but you do know. Yeah, okay.
I do.
Connor, do you have any speeding tickets?
No, I do not. I'm a pretty conservative driver.
No, I've ridden with Connor once. I mean, my man is 10 and 2. You know, he could teach driver's ed. I bet you do that whole lean the chair back and put
one hand up there.
Hashtag wishing you were Black Lives Matter.
Okay. I don't know about.
All right. So this morning we've got lots and lots and lots to talk about. It is Hometown Heartbeat, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Give us a call. Get on the line. Stack it up. 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. We want to talk to you this morning. We will be back shortly. You are listening to Hometown Heartbeat. Good morning, North Alabama. That's a good tune right there. That'll wake you up in the morning. Surprise when it all goes down. That was a bad word. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's jump into the news. It's that time again. Chilling moment, white couple pulls gun on peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters. Have you seen this story?
I have not.
This is the chilling moment. A married couple pulls guns on protesters during a peaceful Black Lives Matter demonstration. The pair brandished a handgun and automatic weapon. Not an automatic weapon, just to be clear. This was in St. Louis. Reports say that 300 people had broken down the entrance of a gated community during their peaceful protest. Are you serious?
It says that in the...
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay.
It does say, reports say that around 300 people had broken down the entrance of a gated community and had attempted to march past when the confrontation took place. But it does say on here over and over and over again that these lunatic gun nuts pulled their guns out on a peaceful protest.
So it was a peaceful protest, and then
that were committing significant property damage.
Yeah, right. And they got guns pulled on them, and I guess it didn't go well.
I would say that it was pretty good outcome.
Did anybody get shot?
Nope.
Oh, so they just pulled. Okay,
They protected their property.
Okay, I respect that.
Heck yeah. Dude, have you watched these videos of these white people just getting beaten to death by black people all over the place?
I have. Especially at like all these like the peaceful protests. It happens all the time. I've seen all the videos.
Has our Second Amendment ever been more important to us in our entire existence as a country? Have we ever needed the right to protect ourselves more than we do right now? I would contend that we have not ever needed it more than we need it right now. That we are, man, there's a headline. 20-month-old shot and killed in Chicago Saturday. Man, cute little kid, man. 20-month-old shot in gun-free Chicago. How does that happen? I'm sorry, we're looking at the news here, rolling in the studio, and Chicago rocked by another weekend of gun violence. Have we gotten any statistics on Chicago's gun violence? Let's see, weekend shootings. Wow, that's one of the top search items. 61 shot, 15 fatally. Okay.
That was over the weekend?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's in the gun-free zone, though.
Well, it's a gun-free zone. How do they get guns?
No, that's yeah. We don't know exactly. I guess they're just
like schools are gun-free zones too.
Yeah. Well, I did see where there was a list of schools that came out that are going to get rid of they're getting rid of cops. Get rid of resource officers.
So are they going to? So they're just taking guns out completely, like they're taking out cops, and they're not going to like have another option in there?
Yes, that's correct. Let's see here. Almost 90% of American schools have a police officer working on campus, at least part-time. The Justice Department poured $1 million into funding police on school grounds after the shooting of Columbine. Okay, so you weren't old enough to remember Columbine.
No.
Okay.
I've watched documentaries and stuff.
Yeah. Some of these police officers received training to become a school resource officer, or SRO, but after the killing of George Floyd and subsequent protests against police brutality, several school districts, including Minneapolis, Portland, Denver, and Seattle, have voted to phase out SROs. Hey, caramba.
We had 2 SRO officers at our school, and for the most part, students loved our SRO officers.
Well, you know the ones that don't, like the school resource officers? That'd be the ones that are doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, I mean, I know you're right. I don't understand how we made schools gun-free zones, and then you see all these schools getting shot up, and instead of going a different route, just keep taking guns out. Like we started seeing SRO officers like a few years ago. I mean, they haven't been around for that long.
1999.
Right. Well, yeah. So
21 years.
I mean, yeah, and more schools kept,
Well, here's the thing. You want to figure out who is going to, like, where the next school shooting is going to be. You go anywhere where they've taken SROs out of the schools. I mean, not that would stop them in the first place, but they look for a soft target, right? Like, violence is perpetrated on those who have no means by which they can defend themselves. It is not something where, I mean, nobody wants a fair fight. Look, I'm 6 foot, 265, 270, right? Like, most people don't come up to me and try to, or you're a big guy, right? So, like, I'm sure you haven't been picked on just a ton in your life. You know why? Because you're a big kid. You're a big kid. You're an imposing physical force. Like, if Connor walked in here and walked up and, like, put his nose up under your chin, because that's about where it would fall, and started running that mouth off, like, I would not expect to see that because you are a big person. Same with me, right? And so we have means by which we can defend ourselves. They're going to catch his hands. You know what I'm saying? You hear that?
Is that what your hands sound like?
Yeah, they're so fast. They sound like a machine gun.
Or are you pulling out a machine gun? Oh, is that it? That's okay. That's an option too.
There's options.
Okay.
There's options.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I mean, people that are going to shoot up schools aren't going to go.
They're not going to. I've said for a long time now, why don't we take some of our combat veterans that are homeless or that are what? I mean, we have a huge problem in our veteran community. Well, why don't we put them in a vest with a AR and throw them at the? I mean, $30,000 a year goes a long way for a guy like that. It's more than they made in the military, and let them protect our schools. You think a freaking active shooter situation is going to happen where you've got a combat freaking hardened Marine running around with an AR-15 and a bulletproof vest? No. You know why? Because he's going to wear that tail out. You're going to catch them bullets. Brah. See what I did there?
Yeah, your hands are like bullets pretty much.
Sort of. Cosmetic giant removing the word whitening from products. Realtor Association stops using the words. Well, actually, they can't even write this headline correctly. Realtor Association stops using the word master bedroom. That's a phrase or 2 words. Okay, just to be clear. And I know English is tough, but anyways, the Houston Association of Realtors will no longer use the word master to describe bedrooms and bathrooms on real estate listings. Instead, the term primary will be used in its place. The word, again, not a word, it's a phrase, master bedroom, is allegedly problematic because some people believe the adjective carries connotations to slavery and slave masters.
I hear this stuff, and it really makes me realize that I've never heard anybody complain about that. I mean, personally, I haven't. I don't know if you have had an experience where somebody's complained about you calling it a master bedroom.
What, are master's degrees going to go away too? Degrees in slave ownership.
You can't say that you mastered a subject in school anymore.
Nope, you can't be a master sommelier. That's another part of this article here. Let's see here. L'Oreal, the world's largest cosmetic and beauty company, declared it would stop using the word whitening on their products. Sweet. Sammy Sosa's screwed.
It's a color,
Sammy Sosa's
man.
screwed.
Like it's a color.
You don't get my joke. Golly, we need someone older
is that
on
like,
this show.
Is that like a
emo
Jackson
for
type
4
of-
just heard that joke and laughed out loud.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Sammy Sosa's been whitening his skin. He's been bleaching his skin.
Yeah, it's like Michael Jackson, right?
Sort of, except for a whole lot worse. And that's when I said they're going to remove whitening from their products. Sammy Sosa's screwed.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, can you laugh now?
Is that good? You like that?
They will remove the words whitening or lightening on its products. Hygiene Personal Care it will rename its Fair and Lovely Skin Lightening Cream products, which are mostly sold in Asia. The brands... The brand said they would discontinue the name because the name suggested a singular ideal of beauty. and slave ownership. Listen, give us a call, 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN, or 678 on radio. Give us a call. Talk to us this morning. We want to hear from you. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat with your beautiful big bearded host, thehometownheartbeat.com. We'll be right back. September. What a good song, man. You just over there spinning those hits. Kind of like Mojo. See what I did there?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. So we were just looking in the break at the TV here, the big TV that had all this Cam Newton stuff playing, and we saw some very interesting statistics. 53% of third downs converted since 2011. And you said?
I said that's not a very important stat.
Which shows me you know absolutely nothing about football.
Well, I'm saying it's not like if you looked at the people below him, it's not like he was way ahead of everybody else. It was like person in second had 52, and then like went down 1% each time they put somebody new up there.
Yeah, but they only showed like 6 quarterbacks.
That's true, and that's fair. But still, I don't know. It's nice, and most of that's just because he can improvise on his feet and stuff like that.
So I'm confused. Does the NFL want to play football or not?
Oh, I'm sure they want to.
I don't know. Damari Smith says workouts go against player safety. NFLPA, that's Players Association. I think that players, it's like the Players Union. I think Players Association is the right terminology. The executive director, DeMaurice Smith, isn't happy to see NFL players continue to work out together despite a union advisory sent out last week that they should stop doing so. During an interview with USA Today, Smith was specifically asked about social media posts from workouts by Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady and Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, and said they aren't acting in the best interest of player safety. Well, no, they want to play. Like, they're not scared of the flu. They'll be fine. Get it, be done with it, and move on.
Yeah, I feel like at some point you got to fight through this virus, man. Just put your head down, run through it like a...
Open your eyes, people. Like, this is the greatest hoax in human history, is what it is. I mean, again, any level of death is too much. I'm not saying that. But you cannot live your life in a bubble hoping that it all goes away. Like, it's not. It's not going to go away at all. It will not go away.
Yeah, and I can kind of understand, like, when it was over in China, we didn't really know anything about it. They were maybe not giving us true information and true numbers, so we didn't know much about it. I kind of understand being scared of it at that point. But now that we see, like, how deadly it is, it's not as bad as we thought it was.
No, and Dale Jackson's on furlough this week, so we don't have to hear about it all morning, every morning. So there's that. All right, Oklahoma district attorney announces this is not Seattle and charges 2 protesters with terrorism. I'm talking about, hey, said, no, sir, you're not going to do that in Oklahoma, by God. Of course, that is the land of the Sooner, which is probably the most embarrassing thing in the world is to claim to be a Sooner fan.
Fun fact, I was actually born in Oklahoma.
It doesn't surprise me. Answers a lot of questions, actually. Have you ever been a Sooners fan?
No, I mean, I don't even remember really living in Oklahoma. It was a very short amount of time, so.
That's good. Yeah, no, they on May 30th, Ortiz allegedly burned an Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office van and attempted to burn a nearby bail bonds office. Ruffin allegedly encouraged the wanton destruction of the van, while Davis is accused of damaging the bail bonds office. Prater says that he hopes the stiff charge will deter future violent protests. Quote, this is not Seattle, Prater said Friday, according to the Oklahoman. Good Lord. Oklahoman. They need to see everything about Oklahoma is terrible. We're not putting up with this lawlessness here. Listen, call us this morning, 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-9866, or 678 on radio. Give us a call. Check in with us this morning. Tell us about your weekend. Tell us about your whatever's going on in your life. You can talk about the Chop, talk about the Chaz, talk about Seattle, whatever you want. Speaking of, first of all, good for you, Oklahoma. Good for you. We are a nation of laws, or at least we claim to be. So holding our citizenry to the law of the land is not only what we should expect, but what we should hold our leadership accountable to. That's the standard by which we ought to run this country. Speaking of Speaking of idiots, have you seen this guy? Let's see, what is his name? It's this guy, the Black Lives Matter leader guy. Let's see, interview Hawk Newsom, the chair of Black Lives Matter in Greater New York. Have you read any of his stuff?
No, I've heard of him.
This guy's an idiot. The combative interview forced Fox News host Martha McCallum to backtrack. It revolved around questions of violence, protest, Dr. Martin Luther King, and even Christian faith. Whoa. Newsom admitted at one point saying, if this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn the system down and replace it. Shut up. The only thing he's burning is a doobie. Like, this guy's an idiot. This guy's an idiot. He said he could be speaking, quote, figuratively or literally. Newsom snapped back at McCallum's question about violence, which were aimed at him as extremely hypocritical, given the American government's use of violence domestically and abroad. I'm sorry, what? American government's use of violence domestically and abroad. So now we're talking about war? Now we're talking about Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam. I mean, now we're talking about violence abroad? I don't even understand what this guy means. Like, nobody's talking about ambushing police officers, but rather about protecting lives. No, bud. No. Your comrades are indeed ambushing police officers, killing them. Cold-blooded. Cold-blooded.
And he just said he'd burn the system down.
Burn it down and replace it.
But now he's talking about peace.
Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of a person attainted. I volunteer as tribute. I will happily be one of the two witnesses necessary to get this man convicted of treason. If you're listening, call me. I am in on that. This guy, some of his comments that he made, he started talking about Jesus, and let's see, where is this? I'm trying to find the better article. Give us a call. 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN, or 678 on radio. I will find this quote. He basically said that he was down with Jesus. Jesus was his homie, and he was the most important black radical that ever walked the face of the planet. And to that, I would say, you, sir, are an idiot. Jesus may have been brown. Melanin levels may have been slightly elevated because of the geographic location on which he walked this earth. But what he wasn't was a black activist. There's nothing about Jesus, the Bible, the gospel, that advocates for any type of violence, any type of destruction, any type of theft of property, any type of discrimination, any type of racism. In fact, Jesus is the great equalizer. The cross equalizes all people, and at the foot of it, we will all stand found wanting and lacking. And you, sir, I can only imagine what the good Lord's going to have to say about some of the things you've done and said, because we will all stand and give an account for our time on this earth. The good Lord will ask me to tell him about all the mornings I was on the radio and how I used that platform to further his kingdom. And quite frankly, it is disturbing that you're painting Jesus as a black activist or a blacktivist. You like that? That's a pretty cool. Black man, I'm a wordsmith. I should be like a poet. I'm just a songwriter. Call me Eric Church. I'm over here just wordsmithing, throwing together these sweet melodies. You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
Okay.
I
good
didn't
deal.
really hear it.
We are going to come back to a phone segment. If you're interested in calling in, 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat with your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. Check us out at thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com, or on Facebook or YouTube, streaming live every morning, coming straight to your kitchen. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We'll be right back. Hometown Heartbeat with your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. Listen, before we go to the phones, and we've got the phone lines stacked up, but before we go, make sure to check us out at thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Shout out to Chris Beck tuning in this morning. Good buddy of mine. His son plays baseball at Tennessee. He's a stud. He's like 6'8", and throws 150 and hit 2,000 home runs in high school. So he's pretty much a superstar. But, Chris, I'm glad you joined us this morning. All right, let's get on the phones here. First, we'll go to John from Elkmont. John, talk to me, Goose.
Yes, sometimes my thoughts take a little time to develop. I hope you'll bear with me, but I think a lot of times the radicals, they don't want to reason, but people who will reason and think about how things develop will have a little more understanding and patience, I guess, with things that have happened that were unfortunate. But on the Confederacy and the monuments, the boys from Alabama and each one of the states thought for the first 2 years that they were fighting to defend the states' rights against the federal government. Evidently,
but in all fairness, John, so don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I don't disagree with you, but the states' right they were fighting over was literally the right to own people as property. So the states' rights that they were fighting to defend was the very fundament of slavery that it was. I mean. That's not a completely honest line of logic.
Well, one of the things that they felt political pressure. Yeah, that was one of the underlying things that they thought that political pressure was going to end their way of life, which included slavery. And I'm not for slavery, and I think it's an unfortunate thing. One of the things that is a fact in history is that Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence, the first issue was, there's going to be a system now to set these folks free. The convention had already, I guess you call it like a hung jury, had already hung itself and said, unless there's a unanimous vote for this independence, we're not going to vote for it. In other words, it has to be unanimous.
Yeah, I would say that John from Elkmont is headed in the right direction in his thought process and all those. But again, the states' right issue that he's talking about was literally the right to own property, and so it is not an honest conversation to say, well, most of them folks was fighting for states' rights. Yeah, the states' right to own people as slaves. Next, we have Mike on line 5. Mike, good morning. Welcome to Hometown Heartbeat. What can I do for you?
Good morning, Zach. I'm just curious, or what's your thoughts on why, what's going on out there in Seattle at Chad? Why haven't the police just stepped in and broke that up or dismantled it, or are they scared of more conflict, or?
No, it's because they have absolutely no leadership. It's because their mayor is a wet noodle.
All right, yeah. I just go over the mayor's head, and we'll just say, President Trump. I mean, he couldn't go ahead and get the National Guard out there.
Let's play devil's advocate here, Mike, and let me ask you this: if you were the president and you had an election coming up here in November, and you were losing points in the poll on a daily basis, and you had to deal with the chop, would you send armed Americans into an American city to quell a revolution, or would you try to give it a little more time and see if it would happen on its own?
I'd probably send them over there, because they're going to be not armed like standoff, but I mean, yeah, it's like a scab or a Band-Aid. You got to rip it off at some point. And I see what you're saying there, but I know he's already getting a backlag on it. Might as well, I guess.
Mike, I would say that you are headed in the right direction, but there's a fine line there, because we've been on the record here at Hometown Heartbeat in saying Trump needed to go in and quell that. Basically, it is a treasonous insurrection, is the way that I see it. And so I would never say that Trump should. I mean, if Trump decided to send troops into the Choppy Chaz, I would support him. But I would also say that he runs a very, very fine risk of alienating more voters by sending there's just an image of Americans armed in America fighting Americans that will never sit well with Americans, and it shouldn't, because the reason for armed Americans to take up arms against Americans should be exactly this. But it better be, I'm talking about it better be the biggest thing in the history of things, because it will be your only shot at it. And if you look at Bush and some of what happened to him and how, I mean, optics are a heck of a thing, and it's really hard to control them, and it's really hard to get them back when they're gone. So if you want to call 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio, we will take your call this morning. Thank you to John and Mike for calling in and sharing with us. And John, you didn't take too long to land the plane, buddy. Keep up the good work. Call in anytime. Has anyone seen this coloring book, this Hot Cup of Joe? Quote, a piping hot coloring book with America's sexiest moderate, Joe Biden. This is no lie. This is no lie right here, folks. This is... Connor, you need to pull this up and put this out on the stream. A Hot Cup of Joe, a piping hot coloring book with America's sexiest moderate, Joe Biden. Joe Biden running around in a Speedo, wrestling a bear in his tight V-neck T-shirt. And it is a coloring book for children of all ages, allegedly. Dallas, what was that you read? You read the it was a description. What did it say? Hold on a second. We got to find this. Oh, here we go. After years of sharing him with Barack Obama, now you can have handsome and dependable Joe Biden all to yourself. Grab your colored pens and pencils and lose yourself in a hot cup of Joe, an illustrated coloring fantasy featuring Joe Biden at his real and imagined best. Whether he's waving to you from his beloved Amtrak train, sailing his boat in his patriotic Speedo, or wrestling a bear, he's always the working class hero you know and love. More than 35 unique lifelike illustrations of Scranton's finest. Scranton. Scranton. This is ridiculous. But the reviews are epic. The reviews are epic. Here we go. This CJ Godfrey says 5 stars. Definitely not for faux. Oh, is that what they call Fox News? Faux news? That's pretty cute. Faux news, Russian patsies, or cultists. You're an idiot, CJ Godfrey. Virginia says, disgusting. How can this be for sale to the public? It's disgusting and perverted to sell a coloring book with pictures that are supposed to be of a hot, sexy pervert. On a scale of 0 to Roy Moore, how bad is Joe Biden?
I think he might break the scale on that one.
I've got to give Antonio credit for that, because he's the one that I heard him say that earlier. Actually, I was talking to you. On a scale of 0 to Roy Moore. This was back before. Anyways, we won't go there. But thank you for that. Was a good one, Antonio. Here we go. In Spiral's review says 1 star. Dude, the guy can barely get around. They've got with a body like a G.I. Joe figure. That's it. Someone should make a Joe Biden figure with a pull cord. It can say stuff like, poor kids are just as bright as white kids. That is one of my favorite quotes. Have you heard that quote?
I have. I've watched all of the gaffes. They're great.
Oh, golly. Can you wait for the freaking for the upcoming debates?
They're going to be great. There might be... I've been ready for this since Joe Biden was talking about, beating Trump up. So maybe
Wouldn't that be a fight worth watching?
Yeah, maybe we'll see some hands thrown. They should honestly just do a pay-per-view like boxing event.
Throwing hands. Brah, brah.
Yeah, just do it for America.
That
Put it
noise
towards-
and throwing hands is just not working for me.
No, I don't think so either. It's more, you got to be like more like a boom, boom, boom.
But they're faster than that. They're like lightning. They really are.
I believe you.
These hands over here, you want to catch them?
No, I'll pass.
Okay. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat this morning on WVNN, Hometown Heartbeat, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Give us a call, 678 on radio or 1-866-494-9866. Give us a call. We'll put you on hold. We'll get to you next segment. Let's get the phones rolling. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We'll be right back. good freaking song this morning. All right, so I just found something on social media that I want to read through. Now, just to be clear, I have not fact-checked all of this. So I'm just going to start by saying that. I feel like that's a bad way to start a segment, but it's true. Listen, call us 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. If you have something to say, we've got time and want to listen. All right, listen. Trump has been in office 3.5 years. What has he done other than dodging darts the media and Pelosi have thrown? What has President Trump and his cabinet accomplished? Trump recently signed 3 bills to benefit Native people. Trump finalized the creation of Space Force as our 6th military branch. Don't know if I'd put that on the success list, but Trump signed a law to make cruelty to animals a federal felony so that animal abusers face tougher consequences. Mike Vick shaking in his boots. Violent crime has fallen every year since he's been in office after rising the 2 years prior to his election. He signed a bill making CBD and hemp legal for all you tokers out there. Trump's EPA gave $100 million to fix the water infrastructure problem in Flint, Michigan, a predominantly black community, in case you were curious. Under Trump's leadership in 2018, surpassed Russia and Saudi Arabia to become the world's largest producer of crude oil. Boom, all you electric people. Trump signed a law ending the gag order on pharmacists that prevented them from sharing money-saving information. So for all you normal people out there that pick up your prescriptions and didn't even know for a while, pharmacists could not tell you when they could save you money. Now they can. Trump signed the Allow States and Victims to Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act. What a name. Which includes the Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act, or SIESTA. Sorry, that's probably poor form. Trump signed a bill to require airports to provide spaces for breastfeeding, just in case little Johnny needs him a pull. The 25 lowest paid Americans enjoyed a 4.5% income boost in November, which outpaced a 2.9% gain in earnings. Low-wage workers are benefiting from higher minimum wage and from corporations that are increasing entry-level pay. Trump signed the biggest wilderness protection and conservation bill in a decade, and all the snowflakes in California cried. Trump signed the Save Our Seas Act, which funds $10 million per year to clean out tons of plastic. Trump signed an executive order this year that forces all healthcare providers to disclose the cost of their services so that Americans can comparison shop and know how much less providers charge insurance companies. Anyways, and that's about like a third of this list, and I'm not going to go down the whole list, but it is important as we come into our election cycle that you got to get educated on what these politicians are doing. Your vote is your only recourse at accountability. It's the only thing that you can do to hold politicians accountable to your desires, needs, wishes, benefit. Like, we, the people in a democratic republic, choose our politicians based on need and desire and the majority, right? I mean, we all come together and we say, okay, what's important to us? Oh, well, this is important to me. Well, this is important to me. This is important to me. Great. Politicians should say, these are our platforms. And then we run to the polls, and we should be acting on those convictions. But what the media would have you believe is that we have a lame duck president. And while I think Donald Trump is an idiot in a lot of ways, because I do, he's also done a very good job in certain areas of our country. And even though Mr. Biden is indeed a hot cup of joe, he doesn't strike me as the type of guy that will be anything other than a talking head for a party. He's been hidden in his basement, not willing to come out and play. Why do you think they're hiding him, Dallas?
He's not sharp. His
well, that's one way to put it.
Right.
No, he's a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
Early onset dementia, Alzheimer's.
That's right, and I think it's
nursing home.
Yeah, he's getting older.
Bib, diaper.
That's right.
That's where he's headed.
Sponge baths.
Easy. Hashtag me too.
Hashtag hot cup of Joe.
Trump executive order strips federal funding from cities that fail to protect federal monuments. Boom. President Donald Trump announced late Friday that his administration would be enforcing federal provisions demanding that cities and states protect monuments paid for by the federal government and threatening those who pull down monuments with long prison time. Trump tweeted about the executive order on Saturday, calling it a strong response to efforts across the country to pull down monuments deemed racist or controversial. Quote, I just had the privilege of signing a very strong executive order protecting American monuments, memorials, and statues, long combating recent good Lord, English is hard, and combating recent criminal violence. Long prison terms for these lawless acts against our great country, Trump tweeted. Well, how do you feel about that?
The protecting monuments,
stripping federal funding.
Yeah,
you made a face. That's why I'm asking you. You made a snowflake face, and I want to dive into it a little bit.
I don't know. Like, I understand we should, like, destroying monuments shouldn't be a thing. I hate it. I hate that it's basically an attempt to erase history,
but I don't even think that's what it is anymore. Have you ever dated a chick that was like super just attention seeking and would do anything that, destructive or otherwise, would do anything in the world to get your attention after she had become a little less relevant in your life? Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
We've all dated her before, and that's, I think, where we've landed on all this. I don't even think it's about history. It's not about erasing it. It's not about adding to it. It's not about any of that. It's about, at this point, just anarchy and civil unrest. It's about keeping the national conversation off of what Trump's done and what the good things are that the president has accomplished, and continuing to go down the path of never Trump and the Trump hatred syndrome that is so prevalent right now. And Nancy Pelosi's an idiot. That doesn't really fit. I just wanted to throw that in. Not even part of that train of thought, but she is. So I don't know. I think the concept of stripping federal funding from cities that cannot protect their federal monuments, that would be no different than, say, there being a federal program that would require you to fill in the blank to receive federal funding. You don't do what's required of you. You don't get that federal funding. If the federal government's going to pay for something, then they have the right to restrict. I mean, Dallas, does your dad pay for anything in your life? I mean, car insurance or cell phone or anything like that?
Yeah, he got my cell phone.
Okay, so he's got your cell phone, right? So if your dad says, hey, Dallas, man, look, you can't use 27 gigs of internet anymore, because if you do, then we run out of internet. We don't have the unlimited plan. And you continue to do what he asks you not to do. Does he have the right to stop paying for your cell phone?
Yes.
Of course he does. And so in the same way, look at this more as a, hey, we want to make sure if we're paying for it, you protect it. Otherwise, we might as well light our money on fire and watch it burn. And I know that's a terribly difficult concept for the liberals out there that are like, wait a minute, what is fiscal responsibility? But it's something that our president has done a pretty good job of in his time, both in private sector and in public service. And so I tip my cap on this one. I really do. I think it's a good way of maybe preventing some violence and some destruction without necessarily overreaching.
Well,
it just says if you don't protect what we're paying for, we will stop paying for it.
So, like, what are going to be the ways to protect it, though, if they don't have, like, police out there and stuff like that?
Put your freaking police out there. Protect it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
It might be hard.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it might be hard. How are we going to protect it? I might break a nail. Get out of here, Dallas. You're like 6'8", bro. What are you scared of? Listen, give us a call, 1-866-494-WVNN. It's Monday morning. We're on a roll. We want you to join us. 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. Join us this morning and sound off. Now is the time for you to drop your sweet, sweet dimes on us right here. Let us know what you're thinking and what's got you mad this morning. Again, 1-866-494-WVNN. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat with your big, beautiful bearded host, Zach Walker, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. We will be right back. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much. Chilling. Having a good Monday morning.
Yeah, good Monday morning. Bright and early, speeding ticket, just to name a few. We're working through this thing like hot, butter on a hot roll. And outside of that, we're just kicking it old school. So there's a headline out here that I want to address. But first, if you have something to say, now's your time to say it. 1-866-494-WVNN. This will be our last phone segment of the morning. We have Russell Johnson coming into the studio to join us. He is running for mayor against Ronnie Marks, who we had on Mayor Ronnie Marks, who we had on last week. Mayor did a great job, and so we will have him in next segment and for the rest of the hour. So if you have something to say, do not wait, because now is your time. 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. Go ahead and slide into the phone calls. But this headline here is pretty solid. It says, father of teen murdered by illegal alien says BLM ignored his case. I'm black. Where's our help? Apparently not all Black Lives Matter the same, because this guy got no help at all. He reached out to, quote, so-called black leaders in L.A. to get the help with the murder of his son. Every one of them was in the bed with the illegal aliens of Black Lives Matter, and the politicians in L.A. only support black people who were killed by the police. Period. After appealing to various groups and community leaders for help and repeatedly getting turned down, Shaw's father started to speak out personally against California's immigration policies, which he blamed for his son's death. All black lives should matter, not just some black lives should matter, he says, alleging a double standard among the movement at the forefront of the national protest over George Floyd's death in Minneapolis. He said, this is a good quote right here. He said, a death at the hands of police should not be, quote, some kind of death lottery. Like, yeah, I won. I was murdered by the police, so we can get something out of it. Everyone else just gets screwed and has to sit on the sidelines and pretend like, that we're getting over it. Mourning in private, he said. And so, again, I just wanted to be very clear about this whole concept. Black Lives Matter. Okay, all right. Listen, I have been on the record as saying Black lives can't matter, or I'm sorry, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter, right? Even Nick Saban joined in saying that, old Nicky Saban. But all lives can't matter. I mean, all black lives can't matter until all black lives matter, right? Because you can't be discriminatory in your discrimination. You can't prioritize certain black lives over other black lives. Can you?
I mean, that's kind of what they're doing.
It's exactly what they're doing.
It's just picking and choosing which cases they want to take based on an agenda that they're trying to push.
I mean, that's exactly right. It's unbelievable that they would play this game. That's exactly what it is too. It's a game. So I don't understand it. That, again, like I said earlier, it's not about anything other than anarchy, chaos, creating a distraction. You fill in the blank, right? If you have something to say, call us 1-866-494-WVNN. Again, this will be the last segment before Russell Johnson joins us. He's running for mayor here in Athens, and we're going to dive into some of the issues here facing us locally. But it's wildly inconsistent. Wildly inconsistent and wrong to prioritize certain black lives. I mean, to prioritize any life over another life would be wrong. To prioritize life based on method the life was taken, also wrong. I don't understand. And then we'll land on the chop and finish out our segment in the choppy chop. You had some chop news over there that you were talking about, but organizers are attempting to refocus their efforts towards a street outside the East Precinct and away from the tent encampment at Cal Anderson. Organizers of Seattle's CHOP are attempting to refocus their efforts towards a street outside the East Precinct and away from the tent encampment at Cal Anderson. The switch in focus comes after some believe the park encampment is becoming difficult to manage and was potentially impacting their efforts to convince the city to make changes in police reform.
So they ruined that part of the city, so they're moving on to the next one.
Well, there's fecal matter in the freaking flowing in the streets. Basically, it's to bring the attention and focus back onto why we're here, Occupy protests, which is to get our demands met. Organizer Angelica C. told the Seattle Times. And the only way we can do that is to occupy this precinct right here. So now the choppy chaz is not enough for these idiots, and they want to they've thrown their tent encampment up and they've crapped in the streets and I mean literally fecal matter running through the streets of one of the largest American cities in the country. And I guess they're tired of that particular part of town, so let's run on over here and take up some more land in our conquest. It's an insurrection.
Yeah, and if they think they're just going to move to this next area and just be civil and push their case how they want.
There's nothing civil about any of this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
though.
this again. Everybody out there talking about how protest this and I stand with the BLM movement and let's change our Instagram photo to a black picture because that does anything. Hey, stop patronizing black people. Stop patronizing black people. You should be offended by the level of stupidity that I guess these politicians think you live your lives with. They clearly don't consider you to be an equal or peer if they can talk to you and treat you this way and you're thinking you're getting something from them. All they're doing is enslaving you to another plantation. It's about an entitlement. It's about they've convinced you need help. They've convinced you can't do it on your own, and it's offensive. And I'm not black. I know that probably surprises a lot of you, but in case you want to check us out, I mean, you can get on Facebook or YouTube and check out the live stream anytime you want. You'll see two big old white boys sitting here talking about whatever comes to mind. But listen, this is not about a movement. This is not about black lives. This is about anarchy and chaos. This is about opportunistic grabbing of power, any opportunity we get. And look, Black Lives Matter. Dallas, let's address this one more time. For those that are sitting in the back. Where does the money go from the official Black Lives Matter movement? Where does it go?
Where does it go?
White Democrats. That's where your money goes, Black Lives Matter. So how much can Black Lives Matter when all they do is fund the white liberal party? It doesn't make sense. They are not your friend, black people. They are not your ally. There are many great men and women across this country that love. Look, as a Christian, the gospel is very clear on where I stand on racism. There is one race, the human race. God created us all in his image as one human race. There is a point in biblical history or world history, depending on how you want to look at it, where people from one area were sent to all the corners of the earth. And our God, being a just God and a fair God and a loving God, gave you the opportunity to develop more melanin in your skin to protect you from the harsh environmental climate things that you would deal with in, say, sub-Saharan kind of an environment. And that's where ethnicity comes from. So ethnicity is a thing, but race is just one human race. And at the foot of the cross, we will all stand equal. We will all stand wanting. We will all stand unworthy. We will all fall on our face before a holy God and say, "Forgive me, for I know not what I do." And until that day, there is no single king that I plan on falling under his authority. I just won't. I won't kneel before anybody. And look, when that day comes, we will understand what it's supposed to look like and how a king is supposed to work and how, biblically speaking, I mean, it's going to be perfect, right? And so I don't know. I read this stuff and I just get lost in the fact that I get lost in the lostness of humanity and the lack of, I mean, this country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. They permeate every single thing that we say, do, I mean, our Constitution all the way down. And for us to turn our back on God at this point I'm terrified, and you should be too. But now you're listening to Hometown Heartbeat with your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. Russell Johnson is here in the studio. We're going to be talking about the run for mayor here in Athens. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat, the pulse of Americana here on WVNN. If you want to join us, we are on live streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, or thehometownheartbeat.com. Go to thehometownheartbeat.com. At the top, click Listen Live, Watch Live, or Podcast Archive. Don't forget, every day this show is put out on the broadcast or the podcast archive for you to listen to at your leisure whenever you want to, commercial free. We have Mr. Russell Johnson in studio. He is running against Mayor Ronnie Marks, who we had on last week, and I wanted to give him the opportunity to come on, join us, and talk. I mean, he's a well-connected man. He's the president of the school board, has been for 15 years, I believe. And
10 as president, 15 on the school board.
15 on the school board. That's more than Dallas has been alive. And no, I'm kidding. He's 18, so close. But no. So Russell, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, Zach. Well, thank you for first having me on here. You know, I was born here in Athens, native of Athens, lived my whole life here in Athens, and you know, I've always thought that you should have a life of service, and that's why I got involved with the school board. You know, I kind of look at life like there's three different kinds of people out there. There's people that make things happen. There's people that watch what happens, and there's people that are wondering what in the world's going on. And so I want to be one of those type of people that make things happen. I want to make sure that this city continues to grow. I want to make sure that we have a good plan for that growth and just not just accept all growth as it comes. A lot of issues that I want to do. One of the things that I really think that Athens needs to look at is some type of building a business incubator. I know you're involved in a lot of different type of businesses like that. You know, the way we're going to bring high-paying jobs, good jobs to this community is we're going to have to grow them ourselves. I was a vice president over in one of the large defense contractors in Huntsville, ran the software engineering group, and we had a huge challenge hiring people. And one of the things that we wanted to do that we thought that would be a good plan, and it was a good plan, is to go find a small community about the size of Athens, and open up a new office that would have about 300 employees, software engineers in it, you know, attracting the just out of college crowd to about 30, you know, their first start. And so me and two other guys, we went to 20 cities across the South, well, Virginia, Tennessee, and Alabama, looking at, we had a long list of criteria that we were wanting, you know, where can we drop these jobs? I got Athens added to that list. And because they were software engineering jobs and I had the software group, I was going to have a pretty big influence on it. And unfortunately, when we came to Athens, the plan just wasn't really there, even after I had briefed them ahead of time on some of the top things that we need. And when we had a lot of criteria that we were using for these this facility, and Athens came in last place. And the next one down was far above Athens. Florence was it actually came down in a neck-and-neck race between Florence, Alabama, and Cookeville, Tennessee, and we ended up putting those jobs in Cookeville, Tennessee. And like I said, these are software engineering jobs, you know, 75, 80,000 starting, and then, you know, up from there. So Athens has the potential to do things like that. But you've got to open your eyes to that. You've got to make sure that you've got the infrastructure in place. There's been a lot of other issues that I've been looking at. I've been reached out to a lot by the police and the firemen, talking about some of the problems. Chief Johnson gave me a detailed briefing a couple of weeks ago. He said he'd make it all, you know, he'd do the same briefing for anybody else that was running for office. And there's some real issues there on the police department that have been neglected over time. The salaries are not competitive with our neighbors. The recruiting of officers is almost impossible here in Athens, and
getting harder by the day.
And so, you know, with the growth, we don't have enough police and firemen now for the size that Athens is. But then you add all of this growth in there, it's going to become a critical problem. And I posted something on my website last week about it, and then I did see the mayor where he brought it up in Monday night's council meeting. So I hope that we can get something going there with that. But, you know, it's not just the number of police officers, it's the location, the recruiting. And like I said, we had to do some innovative things at my company to hire people. So let's put some of those kind of creative things into the city.
No, I love what you're talking about, the business incubator. We own the Grand Holt building downtown, and I absolutely love that space. And I have oftentimes thought about putting some kind of co-working space or whatever upstairs that we could have multiple uses for, or and what I think we need to do personally is that young, fresh out of college group, they're living in Providence, they're living in Madison, they want that live, walk, play, whatever, restaurants. And so the downtown, the apartment options, you know, for the upstairs apartments down on the square, which we've looked at, financially not feasible,
right,
with the water situation and other things. But I definitely think that there are some growth metrics that we can put in place.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that I truly believe in. You can't improve anything that you're not measuring. Maybe that's the engineering side out of me, but you know, how do we measure what we're doing? How do we know? You know, what is our plan? How do we get to where we want to go? Do we even know where it is that we want to go? But I think there's a lot of unlocked potential up there on that square and the adjacent areas around it. But we've just got to be a little bit more forward thinking, maybe willing to spend a little bit of money to put some infrastructure in place, and then we could do some amazing things up there. I look at, and I'm sure you've been there, the Fairhopes and the Franklin, Tennessees and what they've done. I think that square area is what makes Athens Athens. It makes it, we're not Huntsville, we're not Madison, we're not Decatur. That's what makes us Athens. But we're close enough to, to Redstone Arsenal and those type of places that we can attract those jobs here. When it was a super secret project that we were doing. We were going to open that office, but you know how that goes. Yeah. And I had several people stop me in the hall and say, "Hey, I live in Athens. Can I come work in this new office you're opening?" And first of all, we're not opening at all. Where did you get?
Yeah.
And
if I told you, I'd have to kill you. Yeah.
And then, hey, my whole career was spent in the intelligence agency, so I understand that phrase. But we lose a lot of tax dollars just people going to Huntsville. If I want to start a Buy Athens First plan. There's a study out there that talks about the tax leakage to our surrounding counties. Let's recover some of that. Let's get these people back in Athens, staying here. At least if you're working in Huntsville, buy your gas in Athens before you go. That's one thing that I always tried to do. There's many a time when I was driving back from Huntsville all those years that I was like, I hope I can get back to that gas station in Athens to just buy my gas here. Just those tax dollars. We got to keep them here in the town, and we got to attract the people here. But, this pandemic has shown us that, the mindset years ago was that everybody had to be sitting right there, within 2 or 3 miles of Research Park with Redstone. But we're learning that's not the case, and especially in the software engineering field where I was at. You can work anywhere as long as you got a good internet connection. And so let's look at that and see how can we grow that here in Athens, but still maintain what Athens is all about.
If you can get AT&T to put fiber in here, we'll be in good shape. They've got it down on the square for themselves, but they haven't run it through the pipes yet. So maybe we can bring that internet speed in. Listen, you are listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We will be right back. We have one more segment with Russell Johnson running for mayor against Mayor Ronnie Marks. We will dive into his platform and his politics when we get back. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. Security.
Hometown Heartbeat with your big, beautiful bearded host, Zach Walker. I am here with Russell Johnson, who's running for mayor here in Athens against the incumbent Ronnie Marks. Ronnie was on the show last week. Ronnie's a good friend and done a great job for us here in the office, but we wanted to give opportunity to discuss platform to all. And here's our stance on this, just to be clear. I've told both Mayor Ronnie and Mr. Russell here that my concern is making sure that Athens is led well by whomever the people choose. And so not endorsing anyone here at any point in time, because this one is right here in our backyard, but rather making sure you, the citizen, has the opportunity to get educated and make a good decision. Here's the deal. The most important political decision you will make in November is your local politics. Let me break some news to you. Alabama's going to vote for Trump. So your presidential vote, pretty much irrelevant. But the stuff that matters is the stuff like we're talking about today. We're talking about the issues facing our community and how we can address our roadmap to growth and all those different things. So I do have a question for you. The mayor was on last week. He said this was his last election. So on the, if you don't win, will you be back in 4 years, or is this something that you are going to address, like you felt called to this and you're going to do it and then you're going to see what happens? I mean, what's your plan long term?
Well, that's a great question, and I've thought about that. I just retired from an extremely successful career, and I could go home and live that retirement life. Did it for a month and a half and realized, hey, I don't like this, and so I found another little job to keep me busy into this election. I had decided about 3 years ago that I was going to do this. I'll be involved in some way, whether it's running for mayor again. If the city council is will fortunate to appoint me again on the school board, maybe continue that. I don't know. But right now I'm just really focused on that the race this time. It's the first time I've ever run for anything. Our school board positions are appointed. We're not elected, so that's been an experience for me. I've been getting out, trying to meet as many people as I possibly can. The pandemic has kind of messed that up a little bit. We had this great plan back in January of things we were going to do, and then now all of a sudden we're trying to do that in a compact space. We're trying to do it safely. One of the things that I really wanted to do, and I'm still doing, is getting out, going door to door, meeting as many people as I can. Now what we're doing, we're still going door to door, but we're not knocking on the doors. We're just leaving a door tag. It's got my phone number on it. And the momentum that we're getting is really humbling, to be honest with you. Like today at lunch, I told 3 people I'll come by and talk to them that have called and reached out to me. Hey, we want to meet you. We want to talk to you. And then, this evening after work, 2 or 3 people said, hey, come put a sign up in my yard. I've got a meeting at the church tonight. And so it's been just sleep is not something we've been doing a lot lately.
No, well, and that's public service, right? And so what is the biggest issue facing Athens?
I think the biggest issue that we've got is some infrastructure issues, and not just infrastructure.
You're talking about getting 72 lights synced up at the same time? Is that the infrastructure you're talking about?
I would like to lay that in the mayor's lap, but we know that that's a state thing. I hope that they're doing everything that they can to get those synced up. But yes, I have been fighting those 72 lights for quite a while. But
so has the mayor. His stance was if he could just get those synced up, he wouldn't have to worry about re-election. And he's not wrong on that.
Yeah.
So.
But, we've got those type of infrastructure things, but I think we got some financial infrastructure things that we need to look at. Like I mentioned, the police, the fire's the same way. We've got some 23, 24-year-old fire trucks. Out there where the high school is in those areas, they can't meet the standards on the response time. They probably need 1, if not 2 new fire stations. So, how do we get those built? We've got to put together a long-term plan and phase it in. These problems can't be fixed in just one, budget cycle. It's going to take multiple cycles to do that. I think there's some reorganization things at the city. Like I ran a 1,000-person organization that was scattered from literally Hawaii to Afghanistan and everywhere in between. And you've got to make sure you've got a high-functioning organization to do that. There's no way one person can manage 1,000 people. So you got to get the right people in the right places, give them the tools that they need to be successful in their jobs, and then get out of their way. Just get out of their way and let the professionals. I don't know what it takes to be a policeman. I don't know what it takes to be a fireman or run the sanitation department, but I know good leadership when I see it. And we can make sure that we've got that in place and that they've got the tools that they need. Another thing that's, I came out of the high-tech software industry, and I was at a city council meeting the other night, and they were talking about managing the cemeteries with a spreadsheet. And I'm like, God, this is 2020. This is not 1980. Let's do it. And fortunately, they did buy some software to address that. But there's other inefficiencies. You go to the council meetings and you see the councilman, with these stacks of paper. That was one of the first things when I got on the school board we did. We eliminated all that. We went to a system where I can take my iPad, I can pull up any document that I need, the agenda that's coming up, and eliminated those kind of inefficiencies. So, I'm just chomping at the bit to get in there and see what other things like that can we do to make City Hall more efficient and to really do the things that we want to do. Serve the people of Athens. We got to serve the people of Athens and provide that service. Somebody told me one time, said you can't run a city like a business. And I'm like, well, there may be some aspects of that, but you really can. You have to. Yeah, our customers are our citizens. Are we providing that? We got to make sure that this place is conducive for businesses wanting to come in. I've had multiple business people reach out to me in this campaign and say, we want to do business in Athens, but we're seeming to have problems even getting meetings to talk to people and everything. And one of them even told me, he said, that's all I ask for. He said, we want to support you, and all I ask for in return is that you will listen to us. And if you say no, and we get that. It's business. But give us the opportunity to talk to you. And so I want to do things like that to help grow this city, make the city government work for everybody, not just a few.
And the most important thing, in my opinion, I am an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Healthy, success, failure, all the above. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to fail. But I guess I'm trying to think how to phrase this. I think the most important thing is realizing what benefit is economic. What's the economic benefit? What's the economic impact? What's the footprint? One, and then weighing that not against, well, Athens is traditionally fill in the blank, but rather saying this is what we can do, and this is how it will help us. And listen, you're not going to make everybody happy. For those of you sitting in the back, you old curmudgeons back there in the very back, it's going to change. Athens is going to look different in 5 years. And here's the problem. It's going to happen with or without us. We're either going to get pillaged and plundered, or we can write the narrative and grow with our pace, our benefit, all of that.
One of the things that when I was telling you about it on that little 3-person team that we had going around, one of the guys on there was the head of our legislative affairs. He was a former U.S. attorney out of New York, and he actually worked in the Bush White House. And when we left Athens that afternoon, after meeting with the officials here, he said, this is a great hometown you're from. Y'all better open your eyes or you're going to get gobbled up by Huntsville, Madison, and everything. And that was the kind of mentality that we looked at. And you mentioned the whole investment and everything. We got to start putting some true business principles in there. The return on investments. I know that the Panda Express and the convenience store, I forgot what the name of it is, they're getting this $300,000 incentive to go there. That's how business is done.
Yes.
But what is the return on that investment? Is that convenience store especially, are they going to bring new tax dollars to us, or are they just going to take it away from the Jiffy that's right across the store, across the street? Where were those calculations? And, that may have made perfect sense to do that investment.
Well, and
or maybe it didn't.
He did that, and I forgot I think he said 2 years or so was his break, and it seemed as though, and look, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but in the interest of fairness, for those of you that haven't heard that interview, he knew the numbers on that, and certainly, look, here's the problem. The problem is everybody feels differently about fill in the blank, and there's a lot of people that are traditional, old school, and they're like, tax incentives for big box stores. Why don't we bring our own businesses in here? Well, the reality is because they don't work. Yeah. They don't work
for the bigger ones. You're right. We've got some businesses
Sure,
up there
they're-
on the square for 25 plus
Absolutely.
years and everything. But it's just something that we've got to look at. We've got to make sure that
Being
we're
intentional.
there you go, and having a plan. One of the things I don't know if you were in Athens. Former mayor used to have a blog that he every week, and he talked about a lot of times about where he was going to eat and who he had met and everything. But that's something I intend to bring back, a weekly, here's what's going on in the city.
Sure.
I've got several committees already set up, especially on this business incubator. I've got people lined up ready to say, hey, I want to be a part of that. Some businessmen, some bankers and everything.
Yeah, you can add me to that list.
I will.
We would certainly be interested in. Look, we're running out of time. Here's our last segment this morning, Hometown Hour. We have Russell Johnson, candidate for mayor in Athens, on. Mr. Johnson, I'm going to give you the final word here. Give us sound off. Whatever it is that's on your mind, I'm going to give you the final word.
Well, I'm new to this political game, and I want to do what's right from Athens. This is my hometown. I've raised 2 families here. I have 2 grandkids that I'm raising here. My oldest son that lives here, he says, I'm not going to vote for you. Do you promise you'll bring a Whataburger here? And I told him, I said, I don't know that I can do that. But I just want to make sure that Athens is doing things smart, that they have the right leadership in place, and that we have a plan. And we have a way to get to that plan. It's easy to say we want to do this, this, and this. Well, how do you get to this, this, and this? You've got to make sure that you do that. And I appreciate you being here, and I wish you luck on your show.
Well, and we'll have to have you on. You've been listening to Hometown Heartbeat this morning. Russell Johnson, candidate for mayor, joining us. Listen, grab the podcast, hometownheartbeat.com, hometownheartbeat.com. Click on Listen Live, podcast, or watch live. We love you, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.